alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, and welcome to the Iftari show brought to you by British Muslim TV and Shazans. So I hope you're well, hope you've had a fantastic day, hope the weekend's been going wonderfully. How is Ramadan treating you? Well, to entertain you and to bring you some more lively banter and of course some great recipes, I'm going to be finding out today what Chef Greg is cooking up in the kitchen. So Greg, how are we doing?
Kalida, great to see you again.
How are you? I'm very well, thank you. So is everything as it should be? What are you planning today?
Well, what we're going to do today is we're going to use some of this lovely Shazans minced beef. And what we're going to do is we've done it with some Hoisin in there. So we've got some prepared Hoisin sauce and we've added that in and we've put some garlic in and we've got all them flavours in, some lovely seasonings, and then we're going to fry them off. We're going to serve it in some lovely brochette buns because I know you like them. And then we're going to do it with a nice little salad to go with it.
It's not all about me, you know, Greg. But I do really appreciate that you think of it.
That's all I'm worried about. So well, so we're going to griddle them off today, and all we've got to do, you can do these in a frying pan or anything, what you've got, and so we're going to griddle them off and we're going to serve them up to you nice and piping hot, ready for you and your guests to eat.
Brilliant. So speaking of guests, I'm going to introduce you to who we have in the studio today with us in the cosy corner. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Lovely to see you. So this is Rizwan Khalid. And Rizwan is from Euro Quality Land Limited, is that right?
That's right, yeah, from sunny Shropshire.
Sunny Shropshire, with an Irish accent?
With an Irish accent as well as a... Well, you have to ask my parents there. But,
okay, we'll have them on another show then. But Rizwan, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really interested in hearing more about your setup, what your organisation does, but I know that today we're going to focus on talking about aqiqah.
Yes, it's a we obviously have a lot of Muslims here in the UK, mashallah, and the estimates are there's about 50,000 babies being born every year.
Wow.
And obviously, as part of when a new baby's born, we do a aqiqah and we share the meat with loved ones.
Yeah.
So it's a big market opportunity as well for abattoirs like us.
Of course, and it's also a very big event for families, you know, and obviously like we all know people who are going through that process, who are having children. So aqiqah is a very big part of our culture and our community, and particularly our faith.
Oh, it's such a blessed time, you know, you have a newborn and you're just so grateful. And, you know, that joy that, you know, when you say the azan in the baby's ear, the tahniq, the giving a good name, you shaving the head, and then khatna for a boy as well. And then the aqiqah, when you have the aqiqah, and you bring family around and you give it to neighbours, and you also give some to charity as well.
Of course.
So we facilitate some of that meat to the food banks here in the UK as well.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So, because it's proportioned into 3, is that right?
So the sunnah is similar to Qurbani in a way.
Yeah.
That when you receive the meat, you keep one for yourself, and a third you give to friends and neighbours, and a third is you give to charity.
And so you facilitate the part that goes to charity as well. That's fantastic.
We do. We work with Green Lane Masjid in Birmingham. We work with food banks in London, and so every time we build up so much stock, that we send over there. They're hugely grateful because lamb meat is very expensive, and when they receive it, the du'as that the people give for receiving it is amazing.
Oh, that's really understandable. What a fantastic setup. So tell me a little bit about your operation in Shropshire.
So
in Shropshire, don't you know?
Yes, it's a bit of a posh area, but we live in a very working class town.
Sure.
It's fantastic. I mean, like you mentioned, my dad came over to Ireland first of all, so
I'm picking that up a little bit in your accent.
Yeah, so up until the age of 12, I was learning Irish as well as English.
Oh, really?
Then I moved over to Shropshire when my father took over with my uncle the abattoir over there, and they decided to focus only on lamb. Okay. So we're a large Muslim-owned lamb slaughterhouse. We export mainly to France.
And if we were in any doubt that you focused on lamb, I mean, you have brought 2 little friends with you today in the studio, so that's wonderful.
That's it. And what you're seeing on screen now, this is one of our local farmers down the road.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's Bill Waters on the quad bike over there with his sheepdog over there.
Yep.
Rounding up the sheep, and it's literally about 20 minutes from his place to our place over there. Bill's a fantastic sheep farmer. He brings in sheep from all over the place. He grades them at his place over there, and we work with them. He knows the quality that we want and where we're sending them to in the UK.
So tell us a little bit about the quality, because we can see beautiful green land. So the sheep, they graze on the fields that we can see at the moment?
Well, that's the beauty of the lush Shropshire Hilllands. The beauty of us here in the UK is that the sheep are fed grass. In a lot of countries, they're fed cereals, grains indoors. But over here, when we talk about, especially when the Quran, Allah Ta'ala said that, Kulu mimma fil ardi halalan wa tayyiban, eat that which is halal and tayyib, which is more organic. So when you have animals eating natural outside, that gives you the best flavor of the meat, but it also gives you the best for the health as well. And you can see how plump these lambs are over here. So the breeds that we have over here in the UK, there's a lot of them, and it's suited because we have different ranges in the UK. So we have the mountains of Scotland, the hills of Wales, the lowlands of England, which is a great climate and terrain for the sheep over here.
So in terms of the product, in terms of, obviously the meat that is then, produced and distributed from your centre, how does that work?
So akika, what happens is that when people go to the butcher shop and they say, can I have my akika for the child? Unfortunately, what happens is that a lot of the butchers, because they only get a few orders, they don't tell the abattoirs.
Right.
And they just take a carcass from the fridge, cut it up and say, here's your akika.
Right.
And then the customer doesn't know any better.
So what can the customer do to make sure that, because obviously what you need is, I think you're probably going to articulate it better than me, but there are certain things that need to happen for that meat to be counted as, or for that sacrifice to be counted as an aqiqah.
Absolutely. The crucial thing is the niyat at the time of the zabiyah, at the time of the slaughter. So when you're slaughtering the animal, is it just a general halal slaughter where you say Bismillah, or are you actually slaughtering on behalf of the baby that's born?
Yeah.
So for us to slaughter on behalf of the baby, we need to be given the name of the baby.
Of course,
we have to make the correct intention, and it's that intention and that's on that animal, and that's the animal that goes through the process to go through to the final customer. So the first thing that consumers should ask the butcher is which abattoir has it been done. And the second thing they should then ask is that where is the label from that abattoir? Because every abattoir, when they slaughter, every carcass will have a unique carcass label. I brought an example over here.
Okay.
Which just looks like this. So this is the normal label that we have over here. What we do when we do the akika is we also print the name of the baby on the label as well as the time and date. Wow. And what that does is that gives people confidence that actually it was done with the right intention. So when you get something like this from us, or a butcher that buys from us, you'll know for sure that it's been done with the right intention.
So I'm sure for a lot of our viewers, obviously that's really important for them to know. And some of them will now be thinking, when we did the akika, did we give the name? And, how do we know that it actually happened? So what you're saying is that they really just should check with the abattoir and to see what process they have. So, and whether they operate a process similar to the one that you're not just recommending, but this is how you do it as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. All abattoirs can do this. It is extra effort. We had to invest in new additional software modules to be able to upload and to print off the names of the baby on whose behalf it's been performed. And then when you slaughter for the animal, you have to keep that carcass separate all the way through the system. So it is extra work along the way, and that's why a lot of people don't bother with it. Right. But look, for us, it's more than just a product. It's actually an amana. So when people trust you to do it, they need to trust that we're doing it correctly. So at Qurbani time, which is a very similar process to Akika, we actually open up the abattoir for people to come and see how the whole process is done. And it's a very similar process for the Akika.
Well, so when we, again, and I've said this a number of times whilst we've been doing these shows, that often we are consumers from the point of when we go and purchase the meat. But there is, we don't really think about what's happening prior to us receiving the meat, at the meat counter or at the butcher shop. But there is a whole process that happens depending on what you're looking at. And Aqiqah is a very specific thing. So. And
look, with Aqiqah, you want to sacrifice the best for your child. This is your baby. That child, similar to Qurbani, the weight of the animal will be added to the scale of good deeds for the child. So you want to pick the best animal. You want to pick the healthiest animal, and then you want to distribute that amongst as many people as you can.
So are there any guidelines around, what kind of animal that you would pick for an aqiqah?
So for an aqiqah, you can do a cow as well, but then normally it's 7 shares for a cow. So
Right.
unless there's 7 children being born, different people,
Sure.
people typically don't do a cow.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sunnah tariqah is actually what Prophet ﷺ, he did 2 black and white sheep
Right.
for when Hassan and Hussein, his grandchildren, were born.
Sure.
And we all know the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Qurbani. When he was about to slaughter Ismail alayhi salam,
Yeah.
Ismail was replaced with a black and white ram. And even Cain and Abel, Habil, when they slaughtered a lamb. So you can do a goat as well, but a lot of the references from our traditions is about a lamb being slaughtered.
Razan, you've been giving us some really useful information on aqiqah, what our viewers should be thinking about in terms of when they order their meat or for sacrifice for the aqiqah. So further to that then, I mean, we were just talking about, how your organisation, how your company deal with that. And then you mentioned that there is a kind of like a flyer that you've produced and the information that they can receive from that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so what we've done, Khaida, is that we just produced a clip which they're going to be playing on in a minute, but also a dedicated website called myaqiqah.uk.
Right.
And on there, like all the information, whether there's fiqh, whether there's FAQs, how we do it,
Sure.
the video, any questions that people have, they're all on there. Because especially when a baby is born, it can be a bit overwhelming, all these things. So we want to try to have everything in one place where it's easy for people to find and to understand what it's about.
Okay, so that is so useful to know. So talk us through, for a viewer, they're thinking, right, there's been this amazing, thing that's happened in their family, baby's been born. So what is the process for them to then go and, have their aqiqah?
So I would say that they should, before the baby is born, do a bit of research so they know who they're going to use, because it's sunnah for the aqiqah to be performed on the 7th day after the birth of the baby.
So right. So I'm conscious now that the fast is open in Wakefield. So let's have a look a little bit more at what my aqiqah do with a short video that we're going to play for you.
Assalamu alaikum. Aqiqah is a noble act of gratitude performed by Muslims to celebrate the birth of a child. It's a widely established practice, but many people don't really understand the true concept of Aqiqah. In this short piece, we will be exploring the history, significance, and the steps involved in performing an Aqiqah. We'll explain what you should know and expect from your slaughterhouse. Aqiqah has its roots in the teachings of our Prophet, Muhammad's peace be upon him. And according to Hadith, the Prophet performed the Aqiqah for his grandchildren, Hassan and Hussein. This Sunnah act has been passed down through many generations and is still widely practiced by us Muslims today. Aqiqah is believed to bring blessings and good fortune to the newborn and their family. It's also a way to give thanks to Allah for the gift of a new life. Gratitude and humility in Islam is expressed through the act of slaughtering an animal, sharing its meat with family as well as the poor, and the shaving the hair of the child. Let's look at the steps involved in performing an Aqiqah. The animal used is normally a lamb, sheep or goat. It must be healthy with no defects like broken horns or teeth. For lambs, the age must be a minimum of 6 months. It's recommended to offer the best animal you can find, which is of high quality and has the most meat. Aqiqah is traditionally performed on the 7th day after the birth of a child. Although it can be performed at any time, recommended to perform the Aqiqah as soon as possible after the birth, mainly so that the blessings and good fortune can begin. The niyyah, or the intention of the slaughterer, is crucial, because if the niyyah is not done, there is no Aqiqah. The slaughtered animal is dedicated to Allah in the name of the baby. It is different from the kind of regular halal meat when only the tasmiyah is mentioned. The slaughterer really must intend the slaughter on behalf of the baby before the zabihah takes place. It can't be done retrospectively. The slaughterhouse must know and really plan this in advance. The authenticity of genuine Aqiqah meat is a real great concern, because as many unscrupulous meat sellers don't inform slaughterhouses of the details and try to pass off regular halal meat as Aqiqah meat. And to ensure that you receive authentic halal meat, you really have to ask for the carcass label that comes from the slaughterhouse. You can identify the slaughterhouse because every carcass must have a label that displays this unique abattoir number, such as, for example, GB4451 for Euro quality lambs. It should also include information about its origin, as the law states. Also, hygiene inspectors stamp the abattoir number directly onto the carcass using like a food-safe dye. Slaughterhouses that take akika seriously prepare an additional carcass label containing the baby's name along with the date and time it was done. Euro quality lambs are pretty meticulous when it comes to akika. They communicate to their lairage staff the night before the akika which animals are going to be slaughtered on the following day. The babies' names are uploaded onto this slaughterhouse software system, ready for printing, and then the lairage staff inform the slaughtermen, who then make the intention and perform the akika first after a clean break in production. So then when the carcass has made its way down the sequential slaughter line to the labelling station, the grader presses the akika button to print the baby's name along with the date and time onto an akika carcass label for clear identification. They then add a red label to the carcass to make it easy to identify. That akika label stays with the carcass all the way until it reaches you. Your butcher will receive that akika label with the carcass and then keep it for when you collect your prepared meat. It's really essential when placing your order with the butcher to confirm that they'll provide you with a slaughterhouse akika label with your meat. Without this label, you may be paying for regular halal meat instead of proper akika meat. When you receive your akika meat, it's normal to divide it into 3 portions, one for your family's consumption, one for sharing with friends and relatives, and the final portion as a donation to the poor and needy. A lot of halal food banks in the UK accept frozen charity akika meat, and you can consult the Halal Food Information Centre to find those halal food banks that accept donations. The act of slaughtering an animal serves as a really important reminder of the power of sacrifice. The akika ceremony is celebrated with a lively gathering of family and friends. It's a time to express gratitude and thankfulness, seeking blessings for this new child that's come into the world. Euro Quality Lambs is passionate about offering akika services to our community, but doing so in a way that conforms to Islamic teachings. They're very careful about selecting the best animal, performing the niyyah of the akika, and slaughtering it according to the highest standards. It's a beautiful reminder of the blessings of a new child coming to life and the responsibility for us to show love and care to one another.
So here we are with back in the studio. We've got Rizwan with us from the organisation whose video you've just watched. So Rizwan, I mean, that was a really good summary, really, wasn't it, start to finish, of the process, where the meat's coming from. So what are your thoughts, and what else would you like to convey to our viewers about if they're thinking about doing an aqiqah?
The main thing about that is that even if they don't do it with us, it's for them to be aware that whoever they get it from, they should ask for their carcass label. Yeah. And to know who's done it and have they actually done it with the niyat. Because the ibadah part of this is more important than the actual commercial part of it. Yeah. So we want to get that ilm out there.
Well, thank you so much for that. That's been really helpful to know. I think it's time that we go over now and see how Greg is doing in the kitchen. Why don't you join us? So, Greg, how are things going?
Things are going really well.
Excellent.
I'm going to welcome it.
Please take a seat.
Thank you.
I've got buns on here, which I'm just toasting. But because I'm conscious of the time, we've already got yours.
This chutney looks amazing. What's this?
Right, so this is a sweet pepper relish. So we get the yellow pepper because it's that little bit sweeter than the green. And what we do is we've just put a little bit of that. What I've done is mince that up. I've put a little bit of red onion in there, and we've put some plum sauce in there as well, just to get it. But remember, these recipes are on that Shazan's website, and you remember that.
So just please, Rizwan, try some. And Greg, perhaps you could talk us through what you put in the burger.
Yes. So what we've done is we've got some brush up buns. We've just toasted them off. We've got some lovely mince from Shazans, which we've mixed with some garlic. I put a little bit of onion in there as well, so you're more than welcome to do that. Now, if you want to bind it a little bit more, you can put a little bit of egg in there as well, but I haven't done tonight. And then we've bound it with some seasoning in there, and then we've made this little sweet chilli relish, which has got a little bit of a chopped parsley in there. We've got some sweet yellow pepper, which we've chopped really finely, and then we've put a little bit of plum sauce in there as well. So, you know I'm making these for that film crew. You know how hungry they are when we finish. You know that,
they
don't
are.
you?
And
so, yeah. And then we've just done it with a little bit of green salad, and there's a little bit of garlic mayonnaise to go with it, which does enhance the minced crushed garlic. Now, one little tip I can give you for the garlic is when you crush the garlic, put a little bit of salt on there, and it does help break it down so you do get a paste rather than just lumps of garlic. It does help make it so that it is more smoother. So, and it just helps as an abrasive into that, and you're getting some seasoning in there as well.
So, Rizwan, what did you think? How have you found it?
I thought it's a lovely burger. You know, I'm more of a lamb man myself, but as a beef burger, I think it's a fantastic job.
Well, to be honest, I thought he must have eaten lamb after lamb after lamb.
That's it.
And so I thought we'd do your beef tonight, so you can have a special treat and a little change in there.
I think for consumers as well, you know, that it's good to have a balance of all the meat, and that's what AHDB have been doing as well, talking about the We Eat Balance campaign as well. So yeah, all these things are great. Thanks, Greg. It's really delicious.
And I think with beef, it's also low in fat. It's lower in fat than lamb, isn't it? Is it?
It is slightly lower in than lamb, but if you get the lean meat from Shazans, you'll find the quality is fantastic, and it will absolutely go with. It will just make these burgers fantastic.
It's very juicy.
It's good, is it?
It's good.
That's
It's
good.
very good. It's very good. It's really tasty, and I like what you've marinated or what you've mixed in the mince because
Yeah, we put some hoisin sauce in there.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've just bought some prepared hoisin and we've put a few tablespoons of that in. I think it's 4 on the recipe. We've just mixed that in with it, along with that garlic and along with that fresh chopped parsley that's gone in, just to give you a little bit of green in colour and a little bit of, you get a little bit of flavour. You might not believe it, but out of that parsley, you do get a bit of flavour out of it.
No, you definitely get the flavour, and I think fresh herbs, they always fragrance meat really, really well.
So come on then, taste is in.
Well, I have already tasted, but I'm
Please
going to have
taste.
another little bite.
How is
That is really
with the
good.
relish? Does it go with
Oh,
it?
I love the relish. I can think of a lot of other things that I would love this relish with, so I'm definitely having the recipe. Not just for the burger, but for the relish as well.
And all you've got to do is, once you've made them, is just pop them in the fridge for about 20 minutes, just for them to firm up and set. Put them in there, give them 20 minutes, chill them down, and then you can griddle them, barbecue them. You could even just place them on a tray in the oven and cook them on about 180, 200 non-fan.
So, could you make the burgers and freeze them?
You could make the burgers and freeze them, yes you could. And you can make them to the size you want. You get the mix, and you can make the little pate ones, or you can make full size 2 ounce, 4 ounce.
We were talking about sliders the other day, weren't we?
We were.
The really little ones, yeah.
The little sliders that they make, they're getting
This
quite
would work.
popular now. But
This would definitely work for
and
sliders.
they're
I've seen them at
quick
weddings
as well.
more now, you know,
Yeah,
they have,
really?
as appetizers at weddings, I've seen the sliders and things like
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah, they bring them round, don't they, on the
That's it.
trays? Yes, that's right.
nice.
But no, it goes really well with it.
No, I think the recipe is fantastic. The taste is really good. I think this is one that would be a real winner with families because, you know, there's not too much spices in it. The kids will love it. The elders will love it. And I can tell you that, you know, definitely in my family, this would go down a storm. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. So I just wanted to thank Rizwan for being on our show today. Greg, thank you once again for a fantastic recipe. And we're going to look forward to what you're going to make tomorrow. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum. See you soon.